In today's article, we're going to be talking about the power of brand consistency and what does this mean for your bottom line and your revenue growth as a business. Does it matter? Is it something up in the clouds that, branding can't define? Let's jump in, let's see what the data says and find out. Hi, my name is Matt Ackerson. I'm the founder and CEO of this company, autogrow.co, in case you don't already know. And today we're talking about brand consistency. And is it something just pie in the sky, or does it actually have some sort of tangible benefit that we can learn and that we can replicate as we are growing our businesses? So first off, let's start with kind of a basic definition of branding. And again, this is coming from someone who, we started our company completely bootstrapped and we grew it to multiple seven figures in revenue. I've learned to have a very strong BS detector because reality demanded it, that in order to survive and then thrive in terms of business, had to be that way. So branding can be defined as what other people think, feel, and then say to their friends or family, or what they would say to their friends or family about your company. If they don't think anything, if they feel nothing, your brand is weak and perhaps undeveloped, and you need to probably think about that. So in terms of branding though, what does that look like from our side, from the marketing perspective? How do we actually convey that? And in doing research for this article, this is where I learned a bit, because I initially thought, all right, branding, it's about, the colors that you use and the consistency of the visuals and just providing a consistent visual experience, and that alone helps to create that feeling. But upon further analysis and further research, it makes sense that branding extends far beyond that. Branding comes through in terms of whatever can create a feeling within the mind and hearts of your customers and clients. And that could be, for example, what you say that your company exists for, in terms of your core values, in terms of your mission. To find your core values as a brand and as a company, you need to look inside, because again, this is something that you would never compromise on, even if it would be advantageous to do so. So for Autogrow, it's continuous self-improvement, creativity, honor your ability to create something outside of you, and enjoyment. So that helps to convey branding as well, core values. For instance, Zappos, which was bought for several $1 billion by Amazon years ago, and they did an amazing job of branding themselves as being known for customer service. Because, for example, one of the stories, part of the whole branding experience, is there was a customer who bought shoes from Zappos. And while talking with customer support, it was communicated by the customer that his or her mother had just died. And so the customer support representative went above and beyond in line with this core value of amazing customer service and the customer's number one, this sort of an attitude, and sent flowers. A complete stranger was a customer, but a complete stranger, and sent flowers as condolence. How else did branding come through in this case? Well, Zappos actually had it as a policy, an official policy of the company, that you could return shoes at any time, and there was no charge for shipping. And I think the key was the no charge for shipping. It worked for Zappos, and that's a few examples of how branding can come through, not just in a visual form, but in terms of action, and in terms of what does a company stand for, and specifically, what does that company do? All right, so now that we have defined what is branding and what is brand consistency, so that they aren't some pie in the sky sort of concept, let's go ahead and get into 7 ideas for you to take brand consistency and put it into action that can actually, based on the research, grow your revenue. So here's idea number 1. Define and communicate your unique selling proposition, but more than just defining and communicating your unique selling proposition. You want all of the actions, the visuals, the features, and the words within your sales funnel to support and reinforce this value that you're saying is what your company or your product ultimately provides. So an example of this could be Zoom. So the headline on Zoom's website, one platform to connect, subheadline, more connected, more collaborative, more intelligent. Most people who are going to go to their website already know what is Zoom. It's known for its most popular primary product, which is Zoom meetings. You click a button, you send someone else the link, you're both instantly connected and it's fast and the video quality is pretty good, and the audio is pretty good, and it's reliable. To be truthful, I didn't think that the interface of the Zoom product initially didn't really feel very simple at first, but once you know how to do that first meeting, it feels quite simple and very fast. Define and communicate your unique selling proposition can help you to maintain brand consistency in a way that will drive revenue. Brand consistency idea number 2 for increasing your revenue. Maintain a consistent visual identity across all platforms. So what this looks like, once again in practice, is on Facebook, on your Facebook ads, on LinkedIn, on your LinkedIn ads, on Twitter, on your website, on Instagram, on YouTube, in emails. You want to maintain a consistent visual identity. This is the low-hanging fruit, especially for most young, hungry, growing companies, perhaps like yours, where you have a strong degree of immediate control. This and the unique selling proposition, as we just mentioned. You have a strong degree of immediate control because it's fairly easy to fix any misalignments in this way, where maybe you have a different font style and different colors, from your Instagram to your homepage and so on and so forth. But fixing all of that up goes a really long way towards putting your best, most professional foot forward. Because when people do business with you, they want predictability. They want that predictability that they have seen over time in terms of the messaging that has come to them through emails and the way that it's visually set up as well. The visuals that they may have seen on Facebook, on your Instagram, perhaps you use text message marketing as well in some way, and on your website when they're getting to that checkout page and the steps immediately before that, it's all consistent. This helps to create trust and recognition, and it leads to, again, an increase in sales. That's why you want to do this. Brand consistency idea number 3, create a consistent brand voice. So this means that across all communication channels, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and so on, emails, you are having a consistent brand voice. And you've made a conscious decision on what is that brand voice. How should it sound? What are things that it would say and how it would say them, and what are things that would not be said in terms of not just topics, but tone. Having a consistent brand voice that is engineered and that is planned, because you as a founder, ultimately one day, you might be the brand and the face of the brand and the voice of the brand right now. But as you grow, ultimately, you're going to need a marketing team. Go check out AutoGrow, by the way, for that if you're interested. As you grow, it's not just going to be you who is embodying that brand voice, who is talking with customers, who is then ultimately owning your Twitter account, sending out messages there on Facebook and elsewhere. It's going to be other people on your team. And planning that out is important for making sure you stay aligned in terms of your brand with your target market. Brand consistency idea number 4, align your marketing strategies with your brand promise. So a great example of this is Tom's Shoes. 1 for 1 is their brand promise, where they would donate a pair of shoes to a person in need. For example, a child from a family, they can afford shoes in Africa. Tom's comes in, they donate to them a pair of shoes. Tom's marketing strategies here, it's focused on storytelling and social impact, highlighting the positive difference customers through purchasing can actually make with their product. By driving this home, and I've heard this story again and again and again. I've heard it from other entrepreneurs pitching different but similar products or similar brands and services on Shark Tank, for example. They say, "Oh, Tom's shoes." And part of the reason it's such a well-known example and why it's great branding and free advertising for them is because it works so well. Because by 2011, Tom's, for 5 years running, had achieved a growth rate of 300%. 300% for 5 years running. That's a lot. That's an example of what is meant by brand promise and how, if you implement it right, you can grow your revenue from it. Kind of noticing a pattern so far, just kind of deciding on what it is your brand, your company stands for, and then engineering kind of everything from the tone, from the USP, to all be just in alignment with it. The visuals all just like a puzzle that just fits together. It's a lot of work, but the results speak for themselves. Here's brand consistency idea for growing your revenue number 5. offer a consistent customer experience. So a good example of a consistent customer experience could be the example I gave earlier with Zappos, where the company is known for having support representatives who are so thoroughly trained to be empathetic and positive and to express, that helpful brand of the company to make the buying experience of shoes from Zappos, probably now Amazon, to be as seamless as possible and as enjoyable as possible. I had a similar experience a little while ago with Disney that I can remember, where I was talking with a Disney chat support agent, and I was just mesmerized by the company's mission is make people happy. Possibly I was kind of predisposed because it was pre-framed. I already knew that the company's mission was make people happy, and I knew that they had invested in terms of training. So maybe it had more of an impact just because I knew coming into the situation that way. But even if I didn't, I think I still would have felt some of the Disney magic in terms of this chat agent, because they were just so positive and it felt real. Even if that person was not having a good day, they helped me to just be happier. I was just like asking a question about buying tickets to something. I think that's a great example. Some research to back this up. According to data from superoffice.com, 49% of buyers have made impulse purchases after receiving a more personalized customer experience. And customers that rate companies with a high customer service experience score, for example, 10 out of 10, spend 140% more and remain loyal for up to 6 years. It's pretty big. Idea number 6 that can grow your revenue: develop consistent product quality. This one may seem obvious, but it's something that is, I think, important for most businesses. You ask any business owner, is quality important? Most would say, yeah, some standard level of quality. Would you define McDonald's food as high quality? No, but the quality is consistent and it's predictable. And you go to McDonald's, you know what you're going to get. Here's an example of a company that increased their revenues using this idea. And if you want to dive deeper into each of these ideas, I encourage you to go read the article right below. It's linked in the description. But Patagonia is the example here. And based on a, quote, buy less, buy quality philosophy, their brand literally told its customers to not buy its clothing in 2011 during the Thanksgiving shopping season. They said, don't buy our clothing and instead invest in used clothing instead. So they ran this advertisement. It read, don't buy this jacket. Imagine doing that and being successful at it. And that year, actually, the company saw its revenue grow by 30%. Isn't that amazing? Again, it achieved two things. It grew their revenue, it got attention, so it was great marketing, but it also helped to cement what their brand stands for as being pro-conservation, I guess recycling clothes. That's not the words they would use, I'm sure, but it's kind of a contradiction. Like, why would you keep buying from this brand? Because it actually achieves the opposite of what they say they stand for, because they are thus going to be producing more clothes if demand is higher, and thus their mission or brand promise is not achieved. It's a bit ironic, but it's an awesome example. Finally, brand consistency. Idea number 7 that can help you to boost your revenue. Regularly evaluate and update your brand. It's actually probably one of the most difficult things to do, especially if you are a small and growing company, because this involves seeing all of your marketing assets and the experience in total of your product, of your service, of all the interactions with your company and thus with your brand as dynamic, as something that is existing in a dynamic environment, the overall economy, and that it has to also be adaptable and dynamic. So the thing that should never change, ideally, is your mission and your core values as a company. And your product, your unique selling proposition, that should all tie into that core. And then as far as branding is the expression of that mission, of those core values, and of course of the fulfillment of that promised value for whatever product or services you are offering. A good example could be Starbucks, where new ideas are coming up internally. For example, perhaps someone proposed this idea of the ideas.starbucks.com website, where the company could intake ideas from customers about its products and customer experience, and sort of had like a crowdsourcing type of model where they could take in this feedback, and this would allow them to then improve their overall product experience, their customer experience. And the result of this, by continuously innovating as a result of listening to what has been the experience of customers in terms of what they're having, and they're looking to continuously optimize that overall brand experience to make sure it is consistent and that they're fulfilling on all of those promises and what is at the core of their company. So the result was a tangible increase in customer engagement, reflected by a 20% increase in Starbucks Rewards member spend. So this is something I have seen working firsthand, just sitting, observing probably hundreds of Starbucks customers, thousands maybe, depending on how much I've spent time there. And it's something that works. So I think it's easy to probably write an idea like this off as, well, that's, just tactical, that's just good marketing. How does this actually come back to branding? Well, again, it's about looking for all of those interaction points, for creating potential more interaction points. Being able to continuously gather feedback is something that is directly in line with our company, AutoGrow's core value of continuous self-improvement. And it's one reason why we have a feedback form that is highly visible on our project management app. So whenever clients have something that they want to suggest to us, within 2 clicks, they can be making a suggestion to us. Oh, I would like this. I think it'd be better, faster, whatever, if we did it this way, or if you had this feature. And that's just data that we can use. But again, just being able to do that is us embodying and taking the time to hard code that into our web app, something I'm proud of. But it also embodies, that top core value of continuous self-improvement. So to wrap it up, if you want to build a timeless brand, and more or less, probably in the short term, you want to use these ideas to actually grow your revenue, I encourage you, take action on them. Make a note, sit down with your team, or if you need help actually implementing it, you can go to autogrow.co and you can have a full marketing team at your fingertips that you can just delegate all of this to, and we will implement it for you in terms of the visuals and in other ways across your funnel and across your website. And that's one of the ways that AutoGrow can help you. Plus, we have a $7 for 7-day trial, so sign up and check us out if you're interested. And if you want 3 additional brand consistency ideas like these, I encourage you, go and click on the link right now to get to the full article, which is on our website and linked in the description below this video on YouTube. Happy brand building. Hopefully now you see this as not some pie in the sky concept, but as something that, like, wow, this really has legs underneath it, this concept of branding and brand consistency. There is something tangible here that you can take action on. If it is something as simple as just having your logo be consistent and consistent colors across your different social media channels and your website, that's a great start. So I encourage you, take action, put these ideas into action, then come back, let me know in the comments and let the team know how it worked out for you. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. So see you in the comments. Take care.